that, but we're not forced to understand how your religious, status and whatever, and how you're against a lot of sort of things. So, but it's still, blah blah blah. But in a great sense, it's still trying to tell you go unvaccinated regardless of what. That's the agenda.
Is the government make it official for government workers being vaccinated? Are they saying that if you're a government worker, you have to get vaccinated?
No, I heard nothing about that there. What I heard is about, for instance, like police officers and medical place and fire and these different places, they tell them to go and test to see if they are positive or not. And so that's all I know about, to test. They didn't tell them that it's mandatory to do anything.
But that's what Mr. Fraser said, that the test, them a come back positive, but them can't prove how them a come back positive.
But that's the thing I was saying too, because he was wondering, like, where is this among the number of people are? Because if so much people are positive, right? Where's their mass? If so much people are positive,
yes, sir,
it's impossible that a person is positive. Most likely, the person has to go into their home.
Freshradiovybz, the most feared internet radio station on planet Earth, the resistance radio station.
That people positive, they go there and stay there, blah blah blah, boom. Then we got understand that. Now we got understand now if there's a single parent in a home now, and something has to be arranged because of children and blah blah blah. But besides that, if a person tests positive, most likely they gotta go home. And that's what we're going on right now. And obviously they may be home with other people as well. So nothing really in place, because he's stating again.
Freshradiovybz, the most feared internet radio station on planet Earth, the resistance radio station. Freshradiovybz.
A tree without its roots shall die, and a nation without its identity can never prosper. The Nyankipong, sovereign Maroon global tribal nation territories, partners of the UN ILO Indigenous and Tribal People Convention law. Have your identification card. Get it now. Your nationality as a Maroon sovereign person give you the protection of the laws of the rights that you deserve. Application forms are available now. In the USA, contact Representative Russ Gadites at GADIETHZ Gadites@gmail.com, or call them at 1260-209-8730. Contact the Jamaican head office at 1-876-605-7987 or 1-876-773-4594. Visit our website at nyankipongmaroonsovereignState.org. Call, sign up now. United we stand with the Nyankipong Maroon Sovereign State. This is powered by Freshradiovybz and the Nyankipong Sovereign State. Now the dream has become a reality.
Niamin's Restaurant and Catering Services. Niamin's Fresh Jamaican Food. Monday, curry chicken, stewed chicken. Tuesday, stewed chicken, curry shrimp. Wednesday, stewed chicken, stewed peas. Niamin's Restaurant and Catering Services. Niamin's Fresh Jamaican Food. Thursday, curry chicken, stewed chicken, roti wrap, oxtail and beans. Friday, curry chicken, stewed chicken, fish festivals, Jamaican jerk chicken. Sides, rice, peas, cabbage, plantains, banana fritters, banana bread, festivals, Jamaican bread. Niamin's Restaurant and Catering Services. Niamin's Fresh Jamaican Food. Drinks, lemonade, smoothies, desserts, slices of cake include strawberry and vanilla. Please note, any meals that is not on our daily menu must be pre-ordered 24 hours in advance. Niamin's Restaurant and Catering Services. Niamin's Fresh Jamaican Food. We also cater for weddings, birthdays, and special occasions. Call or text 260-209-8730 or 404-901-7060. That's 404-901-7060. Niamin's Restaurant and Catering Services. Niamin's fresh Jamaican food. Fort Wayne area free delivery. Surrounding areas delivery free. Orders after 6 p.m. Family bundles $40 minimum. Niamin's Restaurant and Catering Services. Niamin's fresh Jamaican food. Keep it locked to Freshradiovybz. Freshradiovybz, always Caribbean strong.
Freshradiovybz and RDM presents Live Each Tuesday, the award-winning community show, The Maroon Agenda. Hear about your sovereignty, independence, and human rights. Come be a part of your liberation and unite. The Maroon Agenda. Each Tuesday at 6 p.m. sharp, live on Freshradiovybz. With your host, Rascani, the minister of the Atlantic Islands. Rise up, you mighty people, and listen to the Maroon Agenda.
Stop the fussing and the fighting, brother. Now's the time for uniting.
This is big. This is big. This is huge. Freshradiovybz promotion. Freshradiovybz, one of the biggest, one of the baddest radio station online, present their grand winter's wish list. Oh my God. With a grand prize of a 50-inch flat screen television with weekly prices and surprises. Tune in to Freshradiovybz. Help somebody make a wish come true. It's Christmas. That's what we do right here on Freshradiovybz. Tune in. One of the biggest, one of the baddest online radio. Freshradiovybz. You got the spot. Go find a place.
No mining in the cockpit country, no mining.
St. Anna, Trelawney, choose life. Bauxite mining will destroy us. Defend your rights and save cockpit country, our health, our heritage. We water and we yam ground. Safeguard our way of life. Reject the 51-49% mining partnership. Them a bad mind.
No mining in the cockpit country, no mining. Jamaica be my star.
How excellent is thy name, thou hast set thy glory above the heavens. For out of the mouths of babes and sucklings art thou adding strength to still enemies and their avenger. With thy new name, O Jah Rastafari.
He
Rastafari, watch how we can tremble, he then no like Janet. For when I call him Rastafari, watch how we can tremble, he then no like Janet.
Brand new name, yes I
It's a new name,
it's a precious name,
precious name,
it's a brilliant name.
Rastafari.
Yes I
Yes, a new name, precious name, new name, Rastafari.
yes
For
I
it's a new name, precious name, new name.
gotta say big up to all the people that's logged on all over planet Earth, you know what I mean? The
It's a new
signal is out.
precious name,
It's a new
name, Rastafari.
We're about to get going. We're about to let our guests inside our studio. As you know, tonight's show is it has that momentum where the transition of our brother, you know what I mean? Yes, you know, our kind, should I say? It's really changed the momentum.
A new name, precious name, new name, Rastafari.
It's a new name
It's a new name,
and a
precious name, new name, Rastafari.
We're just waiting on two more guests. Just two more guests.
Name Jakarta, it terrible,
And we shall be ready.
even no like Janet.
Let's line it up. Yes.
Yes, a new name.
The doctor's inside the building. That is awesome.
For when I call him Rastafari, watch how we can tremble.
Look to the east for the coming of a black king. Behold,
Understand that Sister Empress, Sister Pat is having a bit of problem. We're gonna
Christ in
work
his
our
kingly
phone lines.
character. Christ in his kingly character.
But of course, wanna say
Christ in
grand
his
rising
kingly
to Dr.
character.
Chenzia.
Christ in his kingly
She's here with us.
character.
Yes.
One no brother man say Rasta.
Russ Bobby also
Must be Jaja. Thank
heading
goodness
inside
I
this
don't have
direction.
to
The vibration
wonder.
is positive
I know
right now.
He is forever. Christ in his kingly character. 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 His foundation is in the holy mountain.
Gracious things are spoken of thee.
Glorious things are spoken of thee.
Yes.
O city of the Almighty.
He's a living
The
legend.
living legend of this highway.
Conquering.
Lion of the tribe of Christ in his kingly character. Christ in his kingly character. Christ in his kingly character. Many know the truth and hide it. Many feeling the vibes and try to avoid it. But the truth must be revealed. And oh my God is real. Christ in his kingly character. Christ in his kingly character. Christ in his kingly character. Christ in his kingly character.
Let's take it down.
Christ in his kingly character. 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 Behold, 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 the King of Kings.
Yes. Our DJ is telling us that we're almost We have everything lined up, yes. This is what we're talking about right now.
Christ in his kingly character.
I think we have it all sorted out right now, yes. The DJ is holding it down. We have in the building.
Christ in his kingly character.
This is yours truly, Rascadice. Hold it right there. We're getting a bit of buzzing, so we took that out. And of course, you're listening to Fresh Radio Vibes. The doctor is in the building. We have also Ras Bobby, who is going to be calling in live. But before we do that, outer I spec, because respect and respect is what we're dealing with tonight. We have to play this clip. This clip is dealing with the transition that took place, but the great works that has been done by Ras Frank I, will never be forgotten, because he has really, really, really done a great work. And of course, tonight is a great moment also, because Washasha X, Mr. Bernard Washasha X he's going to be resurrected in the fullness right here on Fresh Radio Vibes. But in the meantime, between time, let's bust the piece, because where equal rights and justice stand, that is where you'll find the great nation. We're about to get it going. Just keep it right here on Fresh Radio Vibes.
Of the people of the Americas, a further step in righting ancient wrongs that deeply scarred many of our societies. Denial of the basic human rights of indigenous people and of people of African descent has been an ugly wart on the face of the collective history of the Americas. Regrettably, though we claim to live in an age of enlightenment, discrimination and intolerance based on color and creed persist in many of our nations. Such discrimination is often hidden and many times denied, but it continues to be experienced every day, mocking the high-sounding values inscribed in the constitutions of our countries. That is why in this organization, we should not falter in calling out racial discrimination and religious intolerance whenever and in whatever guise they emerge. It is also why our countries should collectively celebrate those occasions when we reject man's inhumanity to man, and when we acknowledge ancient wrongs and apologize for them as part of reparatory justice. Mr. President, on April 30th, the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Gaston Brown, publicly and unreservedly apologized to the Rastafarian community in Antigua and Barbuda, who were marginalized as social outcasts and actively discriminated against for decades. In the eyes of the colonial power that ruled our country for 3 centuries, the sins of the Rastafari were twofold. First, their complete rejection of a British imperial culture that enslaved the people of African descent and amputated their connection to their ancestral homeland in Africa. And second, their determination to shape an identity that refused to succumb to the desecration of their culture and their religious beliefs. For these transgressions, they were marginalized and alienated for almost 100 years throughout the Caribbean. It is a tribute to their endurance and their innate capacity that the Rastafarian community throughout the region, and now increasingly in many parts of the world, have produced professionals in medicine, in science, in the halls of academia, and in the performing arts. In the words expressed in song by the most internationally known Rasta, the iconic Bob Marley, we refuse to be what you wanted us to be. We are what we were, and that's the way it's going to be. Out of a dark colonial past of their forebears, Rastas have risen up to affirm their self-dignity, their African heritage, and their worth as human beings. They have shown that from the margins of society can come energy and creativity that can spread around the world and captivate it. Prime Minister Gaston Brown said the following in his public apology, and I will read what he said. Many of our ancestors were defiant until death, tortured, broken on the wheel, and beaten to death. Others succumbed to the lash of the whip, to the daily grinding down by the exploiter's boot, to the respite that was offered by acceptance of the oppressor's rule. You, the Rastafari, remain defiant in defense of your culture and human dignity. So, you had to be marginalized, scorned, victimized, and labeled. But you endured, living in your own community, growing your locks, and retaining your own religious connections. Cannabis for you was not a mind-numbing drug that disembodied your spirit from the Babylon which you endured. It was a vehicle for religious communion with Zion, the place where black people lived with dignity, in freedom, and connected to their being. Regrettably, even as the colonial establishment retreated from whence they came, and people born in Caribbean countries replaced them in authority, the Rastafari continued to be marginalized. There were times in Antigua and Barbuda when our own misunderstanding of Rastafari and its religious rituals, such as the use of cannabis, caused our establishment to turn away Rastas at the airport and to demand that their children cut away their locks as a condition of entering school. Even our churches scorned the Rastafari. That discrimination went on for decades, preventing the Rastafarian community from escaping the confines of poverty and denying them the right to explain who they are, what they believe, and what part they wish to play in the homelands that are now our collective heritage. It is long past time for discrimination, marginalization, and rejection of the Rastafarian community to end. In the full knowledge of all that I have discussed here, my government's recognition of the Rastafarian community and equality an integral part of our community. And just as we accord the right of others to practice their religion, including their religious rights within their churches, so too do we accept the rights of the Rastafari to practice their liberty, their cultural and religious practices, including their sacramental use of cannabis. For all the harm that has been done to the Rastafari over the decades in Antigua and Barbuda, I apologize most sincerely on behalf of my government and the government that went before us. That was the Prime Minister's public apology. Mr. President, the Prime Minister and government of Antigua and Barbuda have already taken steps to recognize the dignity and worth of the Rastafarian community as an integral part of our society. Members of the Rastafari have long served as teachers in our schools and as key members of our farming community. Now they serve as senators in our parliament and in our diplomatic service, including with the rank of ambassador. Mr. President, the actions of the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda gives meaning and substance to the Inter-American Democratic Charter, which in its proper application underscores the important values for which we stand as a community of nations in the Americas. The measures that have been taken are consistent with Article 9 of the Charter, which commits us all to the elimination of all forms of discrimination, especially gender, ethnic and racial discrimination, as well as diverse forms of intolerance, the promotion and protection of human rights of indigenous peoples and migrants, and respect for ethnic, cultural, and religious diversity in the Americas, contributing to strengthening democracy and to citizen participation. Mr. President, members of this Council, Antigua and Barbuda is proud of this historic action. I am pleased to have with me today a Rastafarian member of our diplomatic corps, Ambassador Franklin Francis, Ras Frankai Tafarai, to identify him properly. He's also a leading representative of the Rastafari throughout the Caribbean, having received the highest honors of the community. And with your permission, Mr. President, I would like to ask Ambassador Frankai Tafarai to address this Council, and by doing so, to create history. He will be the first member of the Rastafari community to speak to such a high-level representative body of the nations of the Americas. And if I may, I will invite him to speak. Thank you.
Adelante, por favor.
Please do.
Franklin Francis.
Good morning to the distinguished delegates, and greetings in the name of Haile Selassie I, acknowledged as the divine inspiration of the Rastafari nation. I convey the thanks and appreciation of the Rastafari nation for the historic opportunity to address this august hemispheric body, the Organization of American States, on such an important issue as human rights and justice, which we believe should be of concern to the nations and peoples of the world. The Rastafari nation commends and thanks the government of Antigua and Barbuda and the Honorable Prime Minister Gaston Brown for his unique, sincere, and heartfelt apology to Rastafari for repair and redress for the atrocities inflicted on Rastafari for their acknowledged utilization of cannabis and their strong stance in defense of the oppressed and downtrodden minorities in our hemisphere and indeed in the world. This apology comes on the heels of previous token allowances to the Rastafari community, including the admission of dreadlocks youth into the educational institutions in Antigua and Barbuda, and the cessation of the trimming of the dreadlocks covenant of incarcerated Rastafari brethren and sistren. The Rastafari nation has long expressed our advocacy for the rights of Africans the world over, and our advocacy for the use of cannabis as a human rights issue, and view the prohibition of cannabis and the persecution of Africans through the immoral crime against humanity that was chattel slavery as contrary to United Nations Declaration on Human Rights as enshrined in the United Nations Charter and other conventions, including those in the OAS. The apology and declared intention for repair and redress is thus seen in the context of the call for reparatory justice for slavery and colonial oppression, expressed by the establishment of the CARICOM Reparations Commission and voiced by other Africans in the diaspora and on the continent. This call gains added significance, coming as it does in the United Nations declared International Decade for People of African Descent, 2015 to 2024. We express the hope that the call for reparations will see a recognition of Rastafari sacramental use of the herb cannabis and involvement and inclusion in the material benefits to be derived from proper utilization of cannabis. Further, that repair and redress will involve assistance to the formerly disadvantaged Rastafari and African communities, and for the Rastafari inclusion in the civil society, community, and societal deliberations on developmental and other issues of concern to all oppressed peoples. Noting that Rastafari and African peoples are situated throughout the nations of the Americas, it is our hope and fervent prayer that the call for reparatory justice will be heeded not only by other Caribbean leaders, but by other hemispheric leaders and the entire international community. To the distinguished delegates of the 34 nations of the Americas represented here, I give my heartfelt thanks for the honor of addressing you. Thank you, sir.
Yes, we're going to let our guests inside right now. That was the great man himself.
I'm going ugly old witch. I get one cup.
Okay, hold on. Hold on.
One and a one. And a two by one.
Hold on. While we hold that level, thank you so much for joining us here on Fresh Radio Vibes. We are streaming live. We're trying to get Sister Pat on. We have Dr. Shensra, I think is her name. I hope I'm pronouncing it properly. And Sister Pat is via the phone line right now. I wish I could get her via our link, but you know how it is. Tonight is a very great night. We are remembering some great brothers who have transcended, and I think it's only right that we do this. I want to say enough respect to the likes of Bernard Washasha X, who he was a great brother. He transcended earlier on, and of course, first night, the likes of Ras Frankai transcended. We're trying to get Ras Bobby on. I'll bring in our guest right here, the doctor. She is very, very much here from early. Let me say good night to you, my guests. Of course, we were supposed to be here from the top of the hour, but we try to put things together. I will ask my DJ to tone that music down.
Well, actually, the music sounds fly,
loud and clear. Good night. Are you hearing?
Greetings. You didn't have to turn off the music, though. That kind of gave a little vibe to kind of ease some of that rhythm while we're talking. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with Fresh Radio Vibes. We're looking forward to being able to have Empress Sister Pat join in. We would have appreciated her being able to come on the video portion. You did pronounce my name pretty close. It's Senate Dr. Chensira. So you're pretty close. So we're grateful. Heighten up the vibration for Ras Washasha X with today what would have been his 59th Earth Strong. So we're really giving thanks and praise to be able to just hold him up in that light, because he did make his transition, as you shared a little earlier in this year, in July 26th to be exact. And the vibration of being able to hear the livicated testimony of a new ancestor, King Frankai, who just made his transition. That just brings the whole fullness of us giving thanks and praise, recognizing that Rastafari's spirit never, ever dies. It's eternal. And we're giving thanks for the opportunity to be able to share some words of strength, some words of power, some words of upliftment in this particular tribe. So I'm hoping that the sister, that she can hear us, and that we will be able to hear her as well.
Yes. As I said before, thank you so much for joining us. Sister Pat is on the line with us. She said that she was having some technical problems over there. She's all the way in the British Virgin Islands, of course, and Sister Pat, are you here? Are you with us right now? Are you hearing us?
Yes, I am. I'm hearing you, but I'm not hearing Dr. Chenzira.
Dr. Chenzira, can you say something? Let her hear your beautiful
greetings,
voice.
Sister Queen. You can hear me better now?
Did you hear her a while ago?
No, she's...
Okay, I don't know. She said that she's not hearing you, but everything is good. Ras Bobby is joining us all.
Okay.
Yes, I. Hello.
We can hear him. Greetings, Rasbach.
Hi. Hey, greetings, man. Sorry, I've been trying to get you folks here for a while, but unfortunately, I wasn't succeeding. But I'm happy to be on now. So,
Yes,
good night,
yes, yes, yes.
everyone.
Great to have you on.
Return.
Sister Pat, are you still not hearing us? Because I think you need to come visual with us, because of the gathering tonight. And you are the queen. Washasha has left us physically, and you remind us every day of a great human being that walked beside us. So I wanted you to be here in person, but it's not happening. But you are hear me loud and clear. I wonder if you want to say your opening words before we start the reasoning.
Just that. Wow, what do I say? What a loss. It's been a big loss. Really big loss.
Yes.
But it's Earth Day, and once again I'm reminded of his presence.
Right.
Tough words. Not, and she's still in the state of mourning, people. So, I wouldn't push the armor. We know that today is his birth. Is Earth strong, people?
Yeah.
Today is the day that his solar cycle would have come to a 365. Talk to me about that, Sister Pat, and then I let our guests get to elaborate on that, because this is one of the main reasons why you said we want to put some flame, continue with the remembrance of Washasha.
Today would be year 59 in this solar for him. You gotta bear with me because this is kind of hard. I didn't thought it would hit me this way, but it is. So bear with me.
Okay, I'm taking my time. Dr. Washasha is, you've just, I don't think you've introduced yourself properly. I'll allow you to
Oh,
introduce
you would
yourself
like
properly,
that
and
full
then
introduction?
Ross
Okay.
Bobby to introduce himself, and then we can carry on.
I am honored and privileged to be here to honor and recognize Ras Washasha X. That was the primary invitation portion for I to share in this reasoning. I am Dr. Chinsira Davis Kahina. I am the co-founder of Parunk and Smai Tawi, which focuses on the institutionalization of culture, healing, arts, technology, and spirituality for life, inspiration, freedom, and education. A not-for-profit organization that has international reach within a variety of organizations. I also serve on the executive council of the Caribbean Pan-African Network. I serve as a High Commissioner General for the Caribbean Americas for the Universal Negro Improvement Association African Communities League RC 2020. And I also am one of the co-founding creatrixes of African Queen Mother Warriors. Brother Washasha X, alongside his Empress, his Queen, Sister Pat, have been like blood family from other parents for many, many years. And the loss, his physical transition, of course, affects each and every one of us because we've had a lot of reasonings, a lot of work that he has been at the forefront of, alongside many other brethren and sistren, and to be able to just offer word, sound, power, and strength as we honor his solar return, his earth strong. Now we refer to it as an earth light. It gives us an opportunity to see the power, the strength of Rastafari in its ever living, ever faithful, ever sure vibration in respect of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I and Her Imperial Majesty Empress Menen Asfa. So I'm honored to be here.
Yes. Right.
Hello.
Are you hearing me, Russ Bobby?
Oh yes, I'm hearing you now, but I wasn't hearing you a while ago. So what were you saying? Well, I just want to say a special good night to you. Are you hearing me, brother? Hello.
Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? Yes, as you know, let me get this music in. I'm hearing Russ Bobby loud and clear. Sister Pat, you're still there with us, and you know, technology's here already. Technology.
I am hearing you. I'm hearing you loud and clear, but I'm having difficulty hearing Bobby, and Dr. Chinzera.
My guess is telling.
Okay,
I'll is set up. But Russ Bobby, I need to hear his take as to, you know, his voice. He is here with us. And you know, just an introduction. Michelle, I hope that you're hearing us now, and everybody's hearing me right now. Doctor, you're hearing me loud and clear. I can see that.
Yes,
give me a hand signal up there. Russ Bobby, you should be hearing me loud and clear. The father of Nayora, yeah, the herbalist, the lion in the jungle. I don't overstand why the vibration is trying to cut you out of the circle, but good over evil, life over death. Tonight, as I say, tonight is, you know, it's a bittersweet night because we are celebrating the transition of, you know, great spirit. Great spirit. We're saying in ourselves, it was such a joy to have known these spirit in this flesh, you know, and oh yes, I don't know who's calling in right now. Oh, Sister Pat is reconnecting. When we heard about the transition of Washasha X, it was not a good thing because you know, in a time like this when a pandemic is rampant and you know they're purposely keeping us from each other. I felt it, but then Sister Pat, who was there, she even felt it more. But tonight we're here to reflect on the magnitude of these giants, Ras Frankai and Washasha. Now, Doctor, you said that he was family. Family straight out. He and the Queen. Some of the ingenuity and creativity that these two giants brought to humanity. Can you highlight some of them for us so you know we can get along and find out about these great people?
Well, first and foremost, I would, as soon as Empress Queen Sister Pat chimes in at any time, I find it very important to know that Ras Washasha X, not only was he a scientist, a environmentalist, a scholar, an activist, a farmer, a counselor, a guide, a person of strength and dignity, and always brought his 150% game to whatever he did. So whether he served as the chief of conservation and fisheries within the government of the British Virgin Islands, whether he was working with community building inside of his home grounds in Long Look, whether he were to be traveling globally and representing the highest form of academic excellence and communitarian spirit when it came to environmentalism and just protecting the earth's waters, protecting humanity, protecting our rights, our inalienable, our unalienable ancestral rights, our human rights, all rights. That's how we are to continue to see Ras Washasha X. He put Rastafari at the grounding of all of his endeavors, all of his works, even in regard to hosting and organizing with other brethren and sistren in the region and the world to manifest proper restoration of authority, order, balance, harmony for Rastafari. So through all of the different elements, through all of the different orders. So whether it was through, the Caribbean Rastafari organization, whether it was through Rastafari Ainati, Ethiopian World Federation, the ancient order of the House of Nyabingi, any of the Ethiopian African Black International Congress, any of the Adas of Rastafari, because there are numerous Adas. He utilized that to the heights and always linked that to protecting Rastafari, yes, keeping the heights of His Imperial Majesty and Her Imperial Majesty in the heights, yes, and keeping that preservation, conservation, that natural environmentalism at the heights, and protecting, even if it meant going down the road during Juve or Carnival as a mangrove. Like, that's going to stick in my head forever, that a brethren would come forward and use even our festivities of Carnival and Festival to ensure that all participants, all viewers are protecting this earth, the water, the air, for us to actually live in the fullness and the likeness thereof. It's those types of memories and many others that keep his vibration. Like, we know spirit doesn't die. The flesh is gone, but the spirit never dies. So that's why we're here gathering to uplift, honor, give word, sound, power, and strength and praise and recognition, because he was powerful beyond measure. He was definitely ahead of his time in many respects. And that could have a lot to do with, some of the other runnings and dealings that he endured while on the earth trod. So that's just a small portion. And I would humble and ask, I can add some things about our illustrious recent ancestor, King Frank I, because that one also took a lot of people like the wind out of our chest. I know that Ras Bobby has that long-standing history of relationships with that king as well. Ras Bobby, can you hear I?
Ras Bobby, you're hearing us loud and clear now?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
There.
Yes.
But I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, so you hearing me?
Yes.
Hello? Okay. All right. So I want to say a special good night to Sister Pat and to Dr. Chen, of course, and our radio personality who has interviewed me many times. Endless thanks for the opportunity to share, heartfelt vibes, feelings, emotions about two real great cultural Rastafari, Pan-African, conscious brothers who've just left us and are now ancestors. So I trust that the Most High and these two brothers there can help guide us into what their vision was for us. Because I am sure that you will know that those two brothers were great visionaries. I remember coming here years ago when Rastafari could not enter Tortola. I remember standing on my head in my veranda doing a yoga pose, and something say, Ras Bobby, go to Tortola. So it was taboo at that time. I asked the question, for what? And the voice said, Ras Bobby, go to Tortola. So I went to Tortola and I brought some products with me, some herbal products, and I met the brother who used to work for Government Information Service at the time, named Brother Ainad. And Brother Ainad had a bar and a little service where he was selling food. So I inquired about which Rasta people were around and who I could connect with, and everybody was talking about Ras Ainad. And then while spending some time with Ras Ainad, even still wondering what I could do in this island because everything was so disorganized. There, two Rasta people came. It was a brother named Cool Lion, and Cool Lion came with another brother. So the brother who came, Ainad and myself sat and we started speaking about what we can do for Rastafari and what we can do to help Rastafari to be able to come to Totola because we were observing the Rastafari was very isolated. And it so happened that Cool Lion was working together with Washasha X. And so almost immediately into the church in Totola, I was also introduced to Ras Washasha X. So I remember five of us visiting where this brother had this shack. It was somewhere close to the dock, and we dined and we spoke and we laughed and we spoke about Rastafari. And so when we came forward that week, I told them that I was on my way to Totola the next week. So I spent a couple of days in Totola and suggested to them that each of us should identify two other Rasta people that could come to the next meeting the next week. So there and then at the next meeting, we had about 10 Rasta people.
Return to us in a while, Doctor, because Ross Bobby was getting into some very serious conversation as far as Washasha leading momentum when it comes on to the Rastafari, your identity. I won't even use the Rasta. Your growing your hair was a crime. Can you imagine? Not even 20 years ago. Just the other day, Doctor. Russ Bobby is joining us back, and I think this time we may have a visual of the ancient warrior, which is a pleasure. Russ Bobby, thank you so forward for, rejoining and bringing the energy. I will allow you to finish your introduction that we're talking about the liberation of our people with the great Washasha X leading it in the British Virgin Islands.
Yes,
Russ Bobby.
Yes, you hearing me, brother?
Yes.
Yes, Okay, so if you're hearing me, what I'm saying is that I was just trying to paint the picture of how I met the brother. I met the brother, and we were struggling from the offset to get recognition as Rasta people, to be able to come to Totola. And so we kept mobilizing until we got about 25 to 30 Rasta people who were prepared to take up the struggle to be able to allow Rasta people to come to Totola. Washasha was an intellectual, Washasha was a farmer, Washasha was interested in getting indigenous lands for himself and his people to live. Washasha was a man with a great plan. Washasha wasn't a simple-minded man. Washasha's mentality was should reach this stage whereby over a period of time Rasta can take over. Because generally the people who make the most money in those islands are people who are not from those islands. And as his meditation was, we had the expertise to create um, affluence for ourselves, and that was our birthright. Washasha was a very spiritual man.
Just said something a while ago, and the doctor is analyzing it, saying, what's that about, Doctor? Talk to me.
Because there's so many elements to what great ones like Ras Rashasha X and many other brethren in the region and Sistrum, because it was a collaborative, collective, revolutionary movement. It's important to recognize a number of us traversing even from the Virgin Islands US into the Virgin Islands British. The minute you had any nati on your hair, if you even had your hair tied, they didn't even see your hairstyle. You could have had a perm, but the minute they see the hair tie, they immediately, you Rasta, you can't come here. I can remember going with my students. At the time I was teaching in one of the high schools here on the Isle of St. Croix, and I was traveling with my students to perform in Tortola. And had it not been for the fact that the governor of the Virgin Islands at the time, Governor Farrelly, sent us with correspondence and letters, etc., they allowed all of my students to go and enter, and held myself and one of my associates, because we had a head tie on, and made it clear. I said, I don't have to disclose anything. I have correspondence from the governor of the Virgin Islands US, whose people and wife, our first lady, is from the BVI. We're here to participate in educational exchange. And I didn't have the same diplomacy I have now. So a couple of choice words, and then we were granted entry. But it should not have been that. And it's through the efforts of brethren like Washasha X, as Brother Ras Bobby has shared, as referenced by what you showed in the very beginning of this broadcast, with the word sound power coming from King Franchi out of Antigua and Barbuda. We had Sister like Ijania Christian, Empress Ijania Christian, who now is to an ancestress, and many others that were instrumental to just making this trad so well organized, making this trad grounded in human rights and dignity and respect and sovereign power and honor that is deserving of Rastafari, period. So when we hear of these names, that's what we keep in the forefront of our mind. That's something Washasha X did everything in his power, brought all types of international, legalese, persons that were wordsmiths beyond measure, individuals that could address whatever resource was required to make these policies be transformed in the BVI. And it impacted what was going on in other parts of the Caribbean and the wider Americas. It impacted what happened right there in Tortola, Virgin Gorda, etc., with efforts through Ras Washasha X, and impact and influence activities in Panama, activities in Costa Rica, activities in almost the Raizal Nation and Isla Providencia. It influenced what people were saying in Guyana. It influenced what people were doing in all other portions, Trinidad, Tobago, all of these places that used to have that same kind of negative, demonic vision of Rastafari, not understanding that Rastafari is the light, is the height.
I think they wanted to take away that identity. And,
True
and
that.
that is, Sister Pat, bring us, because when I saw man like Ras Bobby, and I saw Washasha X, and I saw, Ras Franchi, these giants was walking among us, looking so different and so strong. And I think that is what inspired all of us. Sister Pat, tell us about that determination by Washasha X to defy the corporation and be that living man that he was and is a real person. Are you there, Sister Pat?
Yes,
Yes.
but I didn't.
You
I
did.
am here, but I did not hear the question. I'm sorry.
The question is, what was that power that Washasha used to defy how society accepted him as a Rastafari person, a human being?
Well, Shasha had a saying that he would always say.
Wow.
The Virgin Islands mattered to him. And not just the BVI, the USVI as well, because he put it in song when he wrote the song One Virgin Isles, which unified the US Virgin Islands and
I'm not hearing you right now.
They're holding back our people through the identity and through a lot of process. But we when I saw Russ, Russ Frankai team up with Washasha X to really tear down some of these draconian law, these draconian. It was something that we definitely have to recognize, and I think tonight is a good night. Michelle is telling me that she's not hearing me. I don't know why. Michelle,
Oh,
you were
wow.
hearing me quite clear a while ago. Are you hearing me, Doctor? You are.
Now I am. Now I am. I believe something is making it. Perhaps it's just the signal. So there's a portion where the sound kind of drops. So, but I hear you very clearly right now.
Thank you. Russ Bobby is rejoining us.
Okay.
I want to look at
I get in a
some
lot
of
of
the
horror this
contribution as far
technology.
as the environment, because the herbs is from the environment, and then you have Washasha also an environmentalist. These two love for the environment. As you heard at the top of the thing, Rasta as always stand forth as the loving Mother Nature and all these things. What do you think we need to learn from these two persons who actually, is putting in the work and has transcended?
Essentially, at least from my input, Renaissance, revolution, restitution, reparatory justice, human rights. Those are some of the terms that I would use that brethren like Washasha X and King Frankai and others that we honor as ancestors, and not honor to revere the dead, but to honor and revere the spirit, their earthworks, their good earthworks, and their contributions, their life of contributions to our liberty, to our honor. That's something that has to be recognized. It is worthy of respect, and the type of recognition, the type of acknowledgement, not just because they did these things, whether it was in their regular day-to-day work or so forth, but to understand, to understand that sovereignty linked to our environment, to our rights for herbal medicinal engagement and the sacrament, that whole process of decriminalization and legalization of cannabis, that was way forward in their thinking at those times when they were involved in this. And they did that at a great cost in a society that is still figuring out how to properly and authentically decriminalize and legalize cannabis, especially for the Rastafari nation that was terrorized the most. It's very powerful to know that Washasha X, King Frankai were instrumental, unapologetic, in a form and quite articulate. The fact that King Frankai was also a veteran sportscaster and a journalist, he brought his skills, talents, and expertise to do so. The fact that he was appointed as an ambassador to Ethiopia as early as 2014, and then an ambassador to the African Union in 2015 by Prime Minister Gaston Brown in Antigua Barbuda. That speaks volumes. So he was a statesman in that regard, but authentically a revolutionary Pan-African Rastafarian in that drive. That speaks volumes. It's likewise with Washasha X, not only in his capacity as a minister in the government of the BBI, again, he was able to expand fisheries and agriculture and marine science and transform how the protocol was put in place for the protection and conservation of our entire environment throughout all of the Caribbean Americas, and it influenced the world. They would call on his expertise globally from a little small island in the middle of the Caribbean. That speaks volumes to the Renaissance, revolutionary character, the regality and the discipline that these brethren brought to the table. I mean, I could go on. So with me, you need to just, I have the highest respect for both of
If
these.
Sister Patty is there, she can jump in also, because that's what makes the conversation,
Correct.
interesting to hear you
Correct.
put out certain compliments, and then she has the person who has this legacy. Sister Pat, you are there. You can.
What I want to say most of all, well, thanks to Dr. Chen for
Are you able to hear her, brethren?
and
What
got
was that,
to
doctor? Sorry, Sister Patrice. The doctor. What?
No, I wasn't here for. That's what I'm saying. If you hear her, fine. I just wasn't able to hear her for a moment. So I'm just giving thanks. I'm just letting you know. It's fine. Move forward. I don't.
July 26th. Had this 4, 5, 6 hour the camaraderie.
Yeah, that fateful day, we have to document all of that. It was something that Washasha was trying to establish that, listen me, we use our resources that is under our feet to really make us great. And I think Frank also had that because Frank was pushing for the marijuana because he said that it can build clothes, it can build house, it can generate work for our people. These are the visionaries that was living among us. And what are we going to do now to continue that sort of genius blueprint that these people have left with us right now? I'm putting that out right there.
I'm going to listen to you first, Sister Pat, because I know there's some pieces, where I could go with this. So there's a whole list of deliverables, and I'm humbled to what you recall were some of the vision that Washasha X brought forth, and there are a number in our circle as we move forward to share what was being implemented through the works of King Franchi. Can't understand what's happening because I have not signed up.
Bob, are you hearing me, Sister Pat? Russ Bob now.
I'm hearing you.
Yes, Russ Bobby Ross Bobby is kicked out of it, so he's trying to get back in. But let me see if I can get a song, and then I'll work in between fixing what's going on right now.
Wanna say Rastafari right die. Oh, you know that is the wickedest lie. Brain up the fry, transform the flesh. Yes, Rastafari couldn't face no death. Transform the flesh. Yes, I listen as I grow Melchizedek. Transform the flesh. Yes, Rastafari couldn't face no death. Transform the flesh. Yes, black man, not trim your precept. Boom, on top of the high mountain of transfiguration. King Rastafari rule creation. No empress man and Queen Matilda sit up front of the man. Marcus Garvey man, he will sit up on them right hand. Them say Jesse know the power of disappearance. Them say he no climb all the seventh heaven. No Elijah and Elisha master levitation. Melchizedek know from when it began again. Transform the flesh, yes. Rastafari couldn't face no death. Transform the flesh, yes. I listen as I grow Melchizedek. Transform the flesh, yes. Rastafari couldn't face no death. Transform the flesh, yes. But young, yeah. Say I go heal Rastafari, I go burn men a man. 1924 me father disappearance. Some say them spot him in a VW van, going up the highest of the highest mountain. Boy Mengusto couldn't enter the stand. Boy talk about him want rule the government. Then you know him kill a whole for Ethiopian. How much him kill?
I don't know why these scams are sending these things to me though. Hold on, DJ, hold on. As you heard a while ago, you know, I'm trying to find a lot of things to put forth out there. I have about 10 more minutes with our guests to wrap. I know we're gonna have to do a second follow-up to this because tonight is so short. We can't have these short spot when it comes on to these giants. But I threw a question out there, and I how much but I think the teachings of Washasha, for instance, in the British Virgin Islands, it is something that, you know, Rihanna just gets a hero. If Washasha has provided so much work for people, he put forth. You know, Michelle, I hope that you're hearing me. I can't understand why you're not hearing me. Doctor, you're...
I hope you can hear me. I hope you can hear me. Well, are you able to hear me, King? Can you hear me? Give thanks. I will just keep speaking over. I am not able to hear each word. It seems that there's something with our sound connectors, and that's something beyond just the regular technology. And it also could be a sign of just the fullness of the energy that is surrounding us, to just be able to bring truth, sound, and power in the heights for these great ancestors, these ancestors whose names should be called and recognized reverently, with honor and respect and dignity when we're when we're at any of our engagements, before we start any programmatic event, before we engage in the ISIS, before we engage in certain vibrations to bring our communities together. I am humbled for a number of reasons, because we've lost a lot of warriors, not just from the pandemic era, but even before that time, we've lost a lot of warriors. And we've lost a lot of spiritual warriors, cultural warriors, revolutionary warriors, educational warriors, artistic warriors, all types of warriors. And these two brethren represent, as you were part of what I heard, and I'm going to just go with what I understood with the limited audio. They are both worthy of designations and honor as national heroes in their respective areas. In the case of Washasha X, and I say this most humbly, but very firmly, to the leadership in the British Virgin Islands, a treasure, a gem, an authentic, outstanding Virgin Islander in the spiritual, former earthly embodiment of Bertrand Washasha X Lettsome, definitely worthy of a significant resolution that honors his works, his expertise, and his contributions to the British Virgin Islands, to the wider Virgin Islands, to the Caribbean, and beyond. We also are looking forward to the opportunity for the same to be established in Antigua and Barbuda in regards to the significant works of King Franchi, Brother Franklin Francis, in that regard, to honor his works as an ambassador 2 times over, as an ambassador to Ethiopia, as an ambassador to the African Union, as the current president of the Caribbean Rastafari organization, amongst other significant contributions that make him worthy as well for that type of a national distinction, albeit posthumously. And I'm very much so looking forward to the opportunity to hear many of the other accolades, words of strength, words of power that will come forward to honor these brethren for their livicated achievements, for their never-ending commitments, for the work they did for elders, the work they did for children, the works they did for their fellow brethren, for sistren, for various educational institutions, for corporate entities, and most important, for the revolutionary, restorative, reparative justice and human rights for our humanity through that lens of the nation of Rastafari, but for the benefit of all of humanity. That, I didn't mean to get too emotional. That's what I gather when I speak of these brethren in the Heights, and really looking forward to seeing some honorific designations for Ras Washasha X, Bertrand Lettsome of Tortola, British Virgin Islands, and likewise for King Franchi, the ambassador as he continued to be, and just the fact that he was able to maintain that ambassadorial presence as a Pan-Africanist, and most importantly, as a royal one within the Rastafari nation. So we're looking forward to, I hope that answers part of what you were asking in regards to what are some things that could be done. I have suggestions, believe me, I have resolutions already drafted, so I'm ready whenever. Oh my. I'm not sure. What is that?
I know I'm hearing the doctor, but Pat is, as I said, she's from she's over there. I think I had her, but she just
You have me.
I do
You
have
have me.
I have you. I have you loud and clear. I have you loud and clear. Yes, I was saying, what age would he be today?
He would be 59 today.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe
Wow. What is doing that?
Nope. Nope, nope, nope. And for Frankai to transcend on the eve of him becoming 59 to me was a mystic thing that they shared, even in his transition. I thought, I thought that was mystic. That
But
I don't want to say he chose,
yes.
but for me knowing what I know of both men and seeing them bond that day over that day to go to say, I'm coming with you or whatever.
And I think Doctor.
I'm not hearing you very well, so I apologize if I seem like I'm being too quiet.
So she can't hear me. I'm yet to learn how to work this thing. You hear me, doctor? Are you hearing me loud and
I
clear?
hear you now. I hear you now.
And
I
Michelle
think we're
should be hearing me now. Whenever I press down my thing, that is when you don't hear me. I need to press that down when you are talking, and so it doesn't conflict. But I was just saying that we have to have these things to let our generation know how great they are in this time. The show tonight is called the Maroon Agenda, and I purposely believe that our people have to identify with ourselves so we can start loving ourselves and appreciate loving ourselves more and stop doubting ourselves and believing in our people. Because I believe that is where the problem lies, where we are quick to demonize each other and don't see the genius in each other. Washasha was that sort of human being. When I went to the British Virgin Islands, Washasha didn't care where I came from. If I came from Timbuktu, he saw someone who reflected things that he would do, and he said, "Yo, William, Rasgadites, yeah, you know, could go over here so we can sit down and him tell me some things where it's from a human point of view. He expressed it to me. You know, he didn't try to bully me down and tell me, "Oh, Godite, when you come around here." No, it wasn't like that. This man was from the British Virgin Islands and I working on the radio station. And when him come upstairs with him project, him did never ever come with an ounce of aggression, peace and love. Wagwan King, you know, and that just win you over immediately.
True. You really knew the brother. We could tell. Because that's the vibe he came. It was peace and love and unity and liberty and full strength and a lot of wisdom. A lot of, irrespective of his, because I consider those in the 50s, even the 60s, that's young, right? And young, wise soul and willing to share and help anyone that came forward, especially with that heartical love, that heartical care. You know, it makes me reflect. I'm not sure if you have any of his selections there. Do you have any of his music there? Press the button. I can't hear you.
I have his songs, you know, and I'm going to play some right now. You know, I think I have one of his favorite songs. That let me not go that far because Sister Pat should know more about his favorites more than I do.
Okay, thanks. I know for me it
But
was long look. It was
he
long look we
has a
come from for
song
me.
called Dreams. You know,
Ah, lovely.
I've been living in a nightmare. You know, and when I hear that song, he has gone out of his wit to show us that what is man? What is this vanity that we're running down and chasing? It's nothing, right, Sister Pat?
Exactly.
It's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's loving each other. It's loving other. You know, uh, uh, you were gonna say something before the doctor said something. Um,
I'm trying to remember what I was talking about. I tell you, tonight is just one of those nights.
yeah. Did you
That
continue?
pardon?
No, continue.
Well, I've been Dr. Chen, no, I've been walking with two pictures of Washasha.
Yes. Sorry. You're walking with Washasha's pictures. You say?
Are you able to hear me if I'm speaking? Because I'm not hearing you or Sister Pat right now.
Yes. Sorry, doctor. Hope you're hearing me right now. You were saying, Sister Pat. Sorry about that.
Yeah, there we go.
I was saying two songs that I think spoke to who he was is Long Look We Come From and Choices.
Mm-hmm.
And he would always say, you know, we choose what we want to do. Life is about choices. And I really love that song, Choices.
I love that song. That's one of my favorite.
Yeah, it's one of mine too.
It's one of my favorite song of all time. Dreams, you know. And your son did a very, 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 very good job on that. We were supposed to have him. I hope we can, bring him on another time. Our time was expired, but the candles is definitely up for Washasha, and he has played his role very, very good. As you said, it's as if he's not gone anywhere. He is still here with us, and I just hope that we can continue pushing forward.
Well, before we go, I just want to briefly say, Dr. Chin said something to me that she was the only one that said this to me. She said to me, "What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
What are we gonna name after him? What are we gonna do about his legacy?" She said, "What street are we gonna name? What department are we gonna name? What laws are we gonna name? What programs are we gonna name? What are we gonna name in his honor and in his legacy because of the contributions that he has made, not only to this region, but internationally? Washasha has gone to the UN to represent us. He has gone to Europe to represent us. I think the only corner of the earth that he didn't go, and we were about to go, was to Africa. When his transition happened, we were on our way there. But he's been everywhere representing his people and representing his passion as a marine scientist, a marine engineer, an environmental scientist, and an environmental engineer, and as a poet and as a musician. A lot of people don't know, but thanks to Dr. Chinzera, the United States Virgin Islands legislature honored Washasha for his contributions. And that can be seen on YouTube and on most social media networks. And if you Google Bertrand Washasha X Letsum, you would be surprised of what come up. If you go to YouTube and put in his name, Bertrand Washasha X Letsum, in the YouTube search, you would be surprised at the many things that he's done.
I know he's great. I know he has done a fair share of great works musically that, is going to be remembered for a long while. I'm trying to find my thing here. Sometimes when you do a log for it, it does not come up with the name. But most of his songs has been rotating here. And tonight we wanted to just have a solemn remembrance of these great people and show our reverence as to how we appreciate of him when we watch back this and can have back sometime. Queen's Rat Bobby didn't get back a chance to come back and hang with us, but I'm going to call him because he, as he said, doing his herbs and so forth in the Caribbean, Washasha paved one of those way where you were turned away at the airport because of your hair, but of course Washasha, he grew his, and you had that common that common link right there that you could say, well, hey, that's a brother over there. I give thanks for we getting this opportunity, us getting this opportunity to talk about it. And I know you will carry on his name. And, you know, oh, let me see what Michelle said. We're gonna need you to learn how to maneuver the broadcast. Russ, I love you, Michelle. that's one of my listeners over there inside Florida. But she is not no
And
matter.
Gadai,
Yes, yes,
Gadai
yes.
need to bring back on the doctor. The doctor needs an hour for herself because the doctor has a lot to share.
Yes.
And she got to share some tonight, but there's so much more within this woman, as a director at VICCC. I didn't get to hear all what she said, which is Virgin Islands Caribbean Community Center, I believe. And she's still a director at the University of Virgin Islands Department of Education and Culture. And this woman has reshaped the University of the Virgin Islands Department of Education and Culture.
Let's be very clear so that my employer does not take that incorrectly. Let's make sure we clarify that. Virgin Islands Caribbean Cultural Center inside
Sister Pat.
abroad.
Sister
Yeah,
Pat,
just hold
Sister
that point,
Pat,
Sister
hold on.
Pat.
Hold on. I think
You have to give her a show.
I think the doc.
I am so humbled by Empress Sister Pat's accolades, so I'm grateful. I just need to highlight that it's the Virgin Islands Caribbean Cultural Center,
Are you hearing her, Sister Pat?
Right inside.
No, I'm
Okay.
not. I'm hearing you so clearly.
That's amazing. It's the Virgin Islands Caribbean Cultural Center inside of the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences, so it's inside of the Academy at the University of the Virgin Islands. The Virgin Islands Department of Education does have a division of cultural education, which has a separate director and entity, a powerful director, I should say, Shalana Stephanie Brown. And I've had the honor and privilege of being one of her educators, being one of her guides. However, that's a separate piece inside of the government of the Virgin Islands. What I have been able to offer, and that's why I focused for tonight, a lot of the work that I was able to do alongside offering support for Washasha X, as well as for King Frankai, was facilitated through some of the work that we do, yes, at the University of the Virgin Islands, but also as we were expanding our Caribbean studies programs on the undergraduate level, on the master's level, on the PhD level, on the postdoctoral level, so that we can ensure that these powerhouses, these community scholars, these scholars with a wide variety of expertise, and especially those that tend to be overlooked because of that grounding in Rastafari, that should be the complete opposite, because these were Renaissance brethren. These were, and when I say Renaissance, I'm saying they brought so much truth to light, so much power, and they were laser focused on making sure that human rights, reparatory justice, reparations, and the decriminalization. I think people need to really make sure they get this point clear. To speak of decriminalization and legalization of cannabis back in the day, you were leaving yourself open. It was almost like suicidal. You were leaving yourself open for all types of attacks, being ostracized, being outright terrorized. Terrorism had a different language back in the day. People used to get the hair cut. People used to be barred from entering into countries, whether they were born there or not, because of hair, because of religious, sacramental order and discipline. So to have brethren like King Frankai, Ras Washasha X, they were definitely before their time. And that's the main reason why when we ask the question, what are we going to do? That's usually my focus. I'm solution driven. I like for us to have discussion, and people is great, and we want to talk the history and what everybody did and back in the day, whatever. Then after we have that conversation, what is the action plan? What is the deliverables? How are we going to have these legacy builders, these legacy stewards, and their work duplicated for generation upon generation upon generation upon generation? What are we teaching the youth? Because I know we can sit here and tell them about all kind of farcical things and movie discussion and script and whatever, and hairstyle and clothes wearing and 50,000 different type of sneakers, etc. But they need to know what these great men and these great women that came before them contributed to the earth, and especially those that look like them. That's what's important, to be able to see these positive African, Black, West Indian, Caribbean men that served as leaders beyond leaders, some with various appointments and elected titles, etc., and even to the groundings amongst their brethren and sisters. That speaks volumes. So I just am humbled to be able to share just those few words of strength and power and respect and honor for very great brethren, that their work is to be remembered, to be recognized.
You know what? Tomorrow, I'm going, Doctor. I have to talk to you because I think I can't breathe as how I want to and refreshed how we need to. And you're touching some very, very points that I think need. You said solution driven, and that alone has really have my molecules jumping, because I believe that that's where we are. I think that is what Washasha and Frankie, that's what they were like. Let's work, man. Let's go. But we are reluctant. Some of our people are like, I'm comfortable, so I don't have to do anything else. And that is why we're talking about these giants, because now that they're no longer in the flesh where I can take up the phone and say, Wagwan Washasha, it really hitting home. We're wasting time. We need to find solutions.
We are about those that do. We could talk, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be reasonment and people don't discuss and pray and chant and so forth and meditate together. That's critical. And it gives people the momentum and the spiritual drive to move forward. All I am asking, as you have asked of us, Russ, is if we're going to honor great men like Frankie and Washasha X, then we need to see what their example was and what were the actions that they took and what were the sacrifices. And we have to thank their families, their wives, their children, their grandchildren, for giving us so much access for them to give so much to the community that they serve. And now that they have become ancestors, we have to still have that fortification of offering love, support for their families, because they gave a lot to us. And that comes with action. That's not going to just be what you talk and say and meditate and so. It's going to be, what do you do? What type of policies are you changing? Which garden, which farm you supporting and growing? What sustainable homesteads are you creating? What you building? What you're investing in? What are some of the drivers? We heard those few minutes that Frankie was speaking before. I believe that was before was that the OECS or the OAS, where he was introduced earlier in the broadcast. Those words of bringing that decriminalization and legalization of cannabis, that's serious, because right now, as we speak around, definitely in the Americas, there's a transformation happening that Rastafari should be in the forefront of. because they were remain the most terrorized behind the cannabis industry. So it can't be everybody else benefiting from the cannabis industry except Rastafari and these brethren, alongside Sistren, some of whom I've already named, remain instrumental in leading that particular not just movement, but that institution building drive with action, not with talk.
You know what I take from man and the movement when it comes down to Washasha and Frankai is that I am yet to see brothers and sisters who defy the unlawful laws of the land. Because that is what Washasha and Frankai do. When Frankai march up at the courthouse with a bag of crocus, bag of herbs, that is defying the unlawful law, because it is unlawful for you to put a law against a tree that is created by the creator. That is savagery. And I don't know why we keep embracing these savage, barbaric, because the irony of it is that we have some intellect, some people who are labeled as intellect, but they are not authentic to the indigenous rights of our people. Are educated and well dressed and occupy the offices and the titles, but they are buffoons when it comes on to the indigenous rights. Because what we must understand is that when the so-called Vikings, Christopher Columbus, came over with our brothers and the Moors and these things, they didn't even know that the soursop leaf was good for headache. They didn't know that the cerci that run on the fence could purge out your blood. They didn't know that the bisi could take poison out of you. And they look at the native and say they were savages. But this is the the foolishness, the buffoonery of the educational system that we are living in, where we are idolizing the oppressors, and the oppressors have cooked this remedy so good to convince us that we are the savage and they are the civilized. And Washasha stand out in his dashiki, sister Pat, when everybody in a jacket and tie is a dashiki, the man of an come and say, yo, man, I squeeze up my throat for please the governor. These are the things of love.
And that ties right into what you shared in regard to the theme you have for tonight with the Maroon agenda. Maroons, some people like to just limit that definition to the escaped or the runaway enslaved Africans. But we have a certain type of Maroonage that exists right now, even in the midst of the chaos and the bestiality of Babylon, that make us, we run away, And not all intellects, and I want to make sure I clarify this, not all intellects are really intellects. Some of them are academically trained. If we are intellects, then we are using wise counsel alongside our academic training, and we're practicing that. So it's easy for people to just be an academic because you completed your studies, you went through multiple forums, and you completed college and university, etc., and you earned these respective credentials. The real education is when we get to the layer of edification, and we get to the layer of the implementation of all of that you've learned, and expand that so it's authentically universal study. You can't say you went to university and you are only looking at things from a very limited lens and a limited scope, and you don't even recognize exactly what you just shared. Indigenous knowledge systems, very different than all of this backwardness and this chaos that's surrounding persons. And that's something that our brethren were instrumental to bringing forward. And there are some that still do that. Not everyone is comfortable with the discomfort and the types of terrorism. I don't call it white supremacy. I call it terrorism. There's nothing supreme in the things that are being done to people of African ancestry. There's nothing supreme to that. and it's outright terrorism.
And
It's genocide.
as I
It's
said, tomorrow
okay.
I want to mix up a brew because I believe you, doctor, have a formula that I can see. I can see that formula that you have, and I need when the lions. I said to Sister Pat all the time, and all of my females lions, the lioness, them that the lion can roar. You know what we do is send a vibration and mark our territory, but it's the females who do the hunting, and the minute our mothers are awake, the nation it will be all right. And we need some of them lioness here where we take down some of them elephant and buffalo because our people is at a cliff right now of new beginnings. But because they have some of them have never known what freedom looks or tastes like, they just stand up and just wasting the time. We are wasting time. When I meet Washasha in the British Virgin Islands, it was, yo, did I really leave all the way from the place called Jamaica and come way over one place in Tatola and buck up on the said hydrant? We love the natural fruit like me. Him love say grand rising. Him not pass you without healing you. Cause him don't see the car. Him see the humanity. You know? Yeah. That is that matter about the king of metal is like a growing because it is now I meet with you, what sister part always I say, get out, you got to talk to this doctor here. Get out, you gotta talk to this doctor. No, I'm so happy I met you.
Likewise, Ken. Likewise, Ken. It's been an honor. This is a great way to celebrate in recognition of Washasha X on what would have been, which is his 59th Earthlight. We really have to just put it in the present. It is his 59th Earthlight. And we're giving thanks that he's in full ascension and welcome in the embrace of ancestors, royal, regal ancestors returning to Restau in those divine sacred spaces. You know, for that we say, ever living, ever faithful, ever sure. Selassie I the first, Jah Rastafari, ever living. We just give thanks. The same true for the family and friends because it's very recent with the passing of King Frankai. And to just give thanks and praise for his contributions, all that he has brought forward, and recognition for acknowledgement, for love, respect for the family that gave him that flexibility to give and be the Renaissance, be the revolutionary, true Rastafari, you know, and again, giving thanks and praise so that he can rise in power and rest in paradise. Selah. Wow. I can't hear you.
Said to me in his last days, he said, Boo, they're going to come to you and they're going to ask you. They're going to ask you when I'm gone about me. I just want you to tell my story. And we're working on doing that. Dr. Chin is assisting me, and the others assisted me in bringing his legacy vividly into the minds of ones and ones, because a lot of people don't really know the depth of this man, who he was, who he is, and who he continues to be. So in saying that, I want to offer much myrrh and love and prayers and respect to the family of Ras Franchi. I also want to offer the same thing to the members of the Caribbean Rastafari organization and also to the members of the Worldwide Rastafari organization, both organizations of which Tasha was an official member. And I just want to send love from him and I, because it's still a oneness and he continues to be with me. Ones and ones who understand will understand that he continues to be with me. And I continue to speak his word, and I will continue to live his legacy, honor his legacy, and bring his works forward. Washasha had a lot of works. A lot of things were planning and in the making, and I will continue to do those things and bring them forward to the people, because the people need to know. And as Washasha would say, a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way.
Goes away and shows the way. I tell you. Him have this joy in him heart, and I want to say that tonight is just the tip of the iceberg to really get him recognized. I think we are on a good mission, and nothing can stop the righteous move where we're on right now. Washasha X have really, 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 really done a great job. Michelle said, if you push the button, get that. Push the button. Yeah, push the button, Michelle. Pushing the button. Thank you so much, Doctor, for coming on board. And as I said, I need to talk to you off the air, because you have so much substance that I can work with. And I think the Maroon agenda that I am pushing is Am I hearing something in the background? Doctor, you are hearing me right now. You're hearing me right now, Doctor. I just pressed the button.
I recognize there's a lot of things, there's a lot of moving parts. You're navigating a lot of moving parts.
Tell me about it. But you've been a great guest tonight, and we're looking forward to having you and my good friends. I have some friends who you would do good with when it comes on to get it. Michelle, me just press the button. Michelle, me just press the. Yeah, but thank you so much. Any last word before we get this out and going?
Just giving thanks and praise for the Fresh Radio Vibes for making this opportunity possible. Definitely keeping full strength for Ras Washasha X in the Heights, along with King Frankai. This was a powerful gathering. We're looking forward to being able to take the next actionable steps. So we move this forward. We always say culture heals humanity, land is our foundation, and spiritual harmony unifies us. Keeping that in the heights. Remember Washasha X. Remember. King Frankai. Rastafari Selassie, I love. That's up.
Is it hard for me to dream for the black man? But I open my eyes and media be given our identity. Why do I never see guys supply heavenly energy? It's being a celebrity the only way we living out our dreams. Yes, I be dreaming, but I'm living in a nightmare. A nightmare. But we're living out this nightmare. A nightmare.
This has been yours truly, Fresh Rasgadites. Holding it down. We're going to keep you informed. As I said, the doctor, I'm going to see if I can get a time to chat with her tomorrow. She has so much good things that I'm definitely stimulated by. What do you mean by you're not here, not Michelle? Leave me alone. You know? Beautiful. The sounds of Washasha X right there. Thank you so much. As I said before, we'll link up tomorrow and we'll do it all over again for you. As you know, I love you, my brothers. I love you, my sister. Most importantly, the Almighty God that created heaven and earth love you even more. If you cannot be good, be careful. And remember, say, yo, Rastafari, Jah guide.